So the next thing we need to talk about is holding the bow, because there's a lot of technique to that. I'm going to set the bow down for a moment and pick up a pencil. You might want to grab one too. It's easier to practice with just something like a pen or a pencil at first. I put these marks on my fingers so that you can see which part of the fingers should wrap around the pencil wheel for now. Because you don't want, I'll let you see them again, you don't want your hand, all of your fingers going over like that, and you don't want them up on top like that either. But the first joint where they bend is a good spot to hold on to it, just like that. So what I recommend doing is just shaking your hand out really good and then just letting it relax, however naturally, when you're done shaking it, however it falls. Don't change anything, just leave your fingers like they are and take the pencil and just put it, you should be able, you can't see from where you are right now, but I can see those marks on my fingers, and I'm going to line the pencil up with those marks. Then I'm going to put my pinky on top of the pencil. So these fingers are over it, the pinky goes on top, and the thumb comes around and makes a circle with the second finger, this one, the ring finger. The thumb comes underneath and it should meet your ring finger. So do that again, shake out your hand, and from where you are, you should, with your hand, you should be able to see those marks if you put them on your fingers. So line your pencil up with those marks, put your pinky on top, and bring the thumb underneath the ring finger, and then bend the thumb so that your knuckle is sticking out. You don't want your thumb to be flat. That's a big no-no. So make sure that it's bent and that you can tap your knuckle. Same thing goes with the pinky. Make sure that it's bent and not like that. That's a straight, tense pinky. So you don't want that. You want a curved pinky and bent thumb. And this takes a little practice, but my main tip is just don't change anything. And don't try to make it look like mine. Yours might look different. Everybody's hand looks different. So shake it out. Don't change anything. Line up the pencil with your marks. Put the pinky on top, bring the thumb underneath, and there you go. There is your bow hold. So you can practice that when you're watching TV or whatever, when you're doing something. If you have a pencil or pen, you can practice your bow hold. Next, you want to do the same thing with the bow. I'm going to hold the bow with my left hand to steady it, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to leave my hand, I'm going to bring the bow underneath, line it up with those marks on the backs of my fingers, put my pinky on top, and bring the thumb underneath. Now the bow's a little heavier to hang on to, so when I let go of this hand, it's going to pull on my hand a little bit. It's going to feel a little bit more difficult to hold it than the pencil. But it's basically the same thing. Don't change anything, bring the bow underneath, put your pinky on top, make sure, and don't let it go straight like that. And also it does not need to be on this silver part like a lot of people think. That wasn't made for your personal pinky rest. This part is for loosening and tightening the bow, not resting the pinky on. So it doesn't need to be there. I like to wrap my index finger around the silver wrapping of the bow. It's just a good reference point for where it can go. The thumb should go, there are two places the beginner can put the thumb. They can put it on the outside of the frog here, or the inside of it here, but not inside of the frog. If you're gonna, you can put your thumb on the outside of the frog in the beginning, or on the wood inside. Don't go inside of the frog down here. Make sure you stay on this little wooden part. There's a little piece of wood where you can put your thumb between the frog and the wrapping, but not on either one. It's not a very big spot, but it's big. It's big enough because you only need the tip of your thumb, not the whole pad of your thumb. Doesn't need to go in there, just the tip, and kind of on the side of the thumb. And make sure it's always bent so the knuckle is sticking out. So I think that's pretty much enough about bow hold. If you have any questions about it, you can email me and ask, and I'll be happy to help. Once you get it down, there's a good exercise called the spider crawl. So you maintain your bow hold and you crawl all the way up to the tip, Make sure you don't drop the bow, and then crawl all the way back down. Down is a little harder than going up. This is a really good exercise for your fingers. There we are. And also sometimes hang on to the bow with this hand and you can wiggle your fingers like this. Just make sure you keep the tension out of them. You don't want them to get really stiff. You know, that's when the pinky goes straight. When if your pinky goes straight and your thumb goes straight too, and so it's not bent anymore, then your hand is going to be really stiff. We have a tendency to do that. It seems to be natural for us to do that. It's not natural for us to keep our hand relaxed. So this is something you need to practice every day. For probably the first year, really practice your bow hold. Because if you really make sure you get a good bow hold, it will really, really help you later on down the road. It really has everything to do with how good you're going to sound, how well you can hold the bow, and be relaxed with it. So I think that's everything for this first lesson. You should know how to hold the violin, how to care for your bow, how to rosin it. Oh, I forgot to mention, don't touch the bow hair with your hands ever. Do not touch the bow hair, and try not to put your bow on any dirty surfaces. Pretty much if you're not holding onto it, it should be in your case, not on the floor or on the table, because if you get the bow hair dirty, it won't work very good anymore. It won't grip the violin strings. And the same goes for the violin strings. I think I have all this information on the CD, but anyway, you don't want to touch in between here and here. This area we call bow country. It's for bows only, no fingers. So the fingers do not ever touch this part of the strings, because the same thing will happen. You'll get your there's natural oils and grease on our fingers. If they get on these strings or the bow hair, then they won't grip anymore. Any place on the fingerboard, the black, your fingers can go there. We can play anywhere there, put our fingers, but not where the bow goes. Same goes for your rosin. Don't touch your rosin on the part where I have this little cloth around it. Don't touch the part that you use to rosin your bow with, because you don't want to get any dirt or oils on that either. So be careful with that stuff so that you keep it nice and clean so that you can sound good. So I think that is everything now for the first lesson. In lesson 2, we'll start playing. I'll see you then.